Hi, this is Argo Banerjee from Level Field again. In my previous video, I talked about Level Field's meta skills approach. Now, this meta skills approach, which has produced exceptional results in Level Field, is very different from a rote learning based approach or memorization based approach. Now, what exactly is rote learning? What exactly is a memorization based approach? Now, rote learning simply is about remembering something, committing something to memory, so that you can use that in the exams. So that you can do only for specific things, limited things, right? So you can do it for certain formulas in chemistry, definitions in physics, certain passages you can completely try to keep to memory. Even in math, for example, sums you can practice repeatedly. Certain sums or certain type of sums you can practice repeatedly in the hope that those type of sums will come in the exams, and that time you can do them. So rote learning employs various methods. You try to maybe read a particular passage, certain area aloud, sometimes with swaying movements like this and this. Sometimes you write down, copy a particular idea from the book many times. That also sort of etches it in the memory. Math, as I said, you keep on practicing the same things. The whole idea is that a limited set of things, a specific set of ideas, concepts, formulas, historical dates, sums, you try to keep it in memory so that when they come in the exam, you can use them. Now, why is that required? Why people are so fond of it? It's because often a lot of students cannot think. If there is a problem that is there in the exam, new question that is there in the exam, they do not want to do any additional thinking. If it is already done, if they have already learned that or already committed that to memory, all they have to do is to pluck it out of their memory and write it down in the exam. And that's easy for most people. What is difficult is that if a question has come, now think how to solve it. Okay, so which is why rote learning is preferred by a large majority of people in India. However, it's a problem. It's a problem. Now, why it's a problem? Many people condemn rote learning for obvious reasons, like what is the point of learning the year in which the third battle of Panipat happened? What's the use of that in my life today when I'm going to office and coming back? How is it used? Or they talk about what's the point of learning the formula of sulfuric acid or barium hydroxide, or what's the point of learning exact definition of Ampere's law. Now, those are not really the important questions. The important question is that rote learning, what is rote learning? That goes much beyond than these dates, formulas, definitions. It's actually far deeper than that. So to understand that, let's take a few examples. Look at this. You can see some blue balls here. Now, often in our Level Field admission time, when we interview potential kids or parents for admissions, we ask such a question to kids aged 7, 8, those who have already learned multiplication. The question is that, how many blue balls are here? Now, the moment we ask this question, kids often start counting these balls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they go on like that. Now, clearly, if somebody has learned multiplication, for them it's just 4 columns, 5 rows, so 4 into 5, 20. But while they have learned multiplication or committed the multiplication tables to memory, they haven't learned how to apply it. Multiplication tables for them was just rhymes. It's like Baba Black Sheep. Okay, learning Baba Black Sheep and learning 4 twos are 5, 4 twos are 8, and 4 threes are 12. It's the same thing for them. So they are unable to apply it when the time comes to apply it. Let's look at this other one. So there are, as you can see, some white balls and some blue balls. Okay, now we ask the students. So this typically is asked of students of 8, 9 years of age, class 2, 3 admissions, as you can think about. So we ask them that what is the color of the 37th ball, for example, in this pattern, as the balls are going in this pattern. Now, this question, the adults among you who are watching this can surely understand. This question is just a variation of what is 37 by 5. Then what is the remainder? So you know that the balls are going in these patterns of 5, and out of 37, for 35, within 35, 7 such groups of 5 will be there. Now 2 more. So it's a simple restatement of the question, what is 37 by 5? Okay, but many kids are unable to do it. And not only that, the moment we ask kids these questions, there are immediately a lot of objections from the parents who are sitting beside them that time. So parents feel, or they say, that these questions were not taught to them. So don't ask them these questions. Now that's absolutely nonsensical, because what has been taught to them? Surely they have learned addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Now, once those things have been taught to them, why not you'll be able to do anything, any sum that comes using those concepts, where you have to apply those concepts, right? So when the parents are saying that this thing was not taught to them, so they cannot do it, actually their expectation from the education system, their expectation from the schools, their expectation from the children actually is quite low. All they are saying is that whatever was taught to them, the mechanical step, the memorized steps, beyond that they can do nothing at all. If we have that sort of expectation from our children, from our schools, we are actually betraying them. It's not a good kind of education, good kind of childhood we are providing to them, and that's not going to prepare them for life. Let's look at this one more question from maths. So here we see a long multiplication, a bigger multiplication, 4, 5, 8, 2 into 67. Okay, so in this long multiplication, what happens is that often kids of, again, 8, 9 years of age can do this sort of long multiplication. Actually, they can do them in plenty, because these are mechanical steps and they can just keep on doing them. But when I ask them that in the second line, you can see this cross. What is the meaning of this cross? They cannot say. Now, so what has happened is that they have learned the mechanical steps, but they have not learned that when you multiply something by 67, you are actually first multiplying it by 7, putting it in the first line, and then multiplying it by 60 and putting it in the second line, and that cross actually represents a 0. Okay, but that concept they don't have. Now, when you learn something, just the mechanical steps and not the concepts and not the ability to apply also, then that's not going to help you in real life, and neither in exams. Okay. Now let's go beyond math and look at English. Okay. In English, we often see small kids, aged 4, 5, are often given alphabet books. So alphabet books often start with A for apple, or sometimes A for alligator, E for elephant. So we see that these words kids know. And if you show them these words, they can recognize these words and they can read these words. Now, some other words which are phonetic but much simpler, like let's say help, which have not appeared in their alphabet book, that they cannot read. Help, H-E-L-P, or sad, all simple words. We test, actually, these are all real questions that we have asked in our admissions to real students in front of real parents, and we have seen that these have been the response, that they can do those alphabet book words but not much simpler words. They cannot decode those, and that goes on as they grow up a little bit, let's say class 3, 4. Then they can read the textbooks, English textbooks they can read. Actually, they read that many times over. In a book Khaled Hosseini wrote many years back, Kite Runner, there was this dialogue which one of the characters, Hassan, told to his friend Amir, that for you 1,000 times over. So our students' motto is that for textbooks 1,000 times over. So textbooks they will read 1,000 times over, but they are unwilling to read, or rather unable to read, new unseen passage that appears to them. It's for the same reason. They have learned to do a limited set of things, but they have not learned to grasp or solve or read the whole range of things that are out there, which are beyond the limited 1% things that you can memorize. So that's precisely the problem with rote learning, because rote learning enables you to tackle a very minor fraction of all the problems that are there in the world, all the problems that they're going to encounter later on in their life. Like if you're a software engineer in your future life, and if a student is a software engineer in their future life and they're trying to solve a coding problem, that problem is going to be a new problem. It's not something they memorized and they can now use, right? If an investment banker is trying to find out how to approach a potential client for a deal, it's a new problem. If you are, let's say, a people manager and you're trying to solve some people issues in your factory, that's a new problem. None of these problems you can memorize for. Okay, none of these problems appear in the limited repertoire that in a student life you have completely committed to memory, right? Or let's say life obviously is not only work. Back at home, relationships determine a lot of things, and let's say you have this little problem with your wife. And how do you deal with that? What sort of approach for argument or reconciliation you might have? That's also not something you can memorize. You have to think at that point. You have to approach problems and solve them at that point. So our education, by this whole focus on rote learning, which is about learning to remember specific solutions to specific problems, is not helping our children to prepare for all the myriad problems, all the numerous problems that life is going to throw at them. Not just life, even the exams. For example, if you just look at Indian certain competitive exams like IIT JEE, CAT for management, IP MAT exams for IIM admission up to 12th standard, all of these exams, they do not repeat questions. They give you thinking oriented questions which they are giving this year. Next year, those things are not going to come. New type of thinking-oriented questions are going to come. So again, rote learning is not going to take you very far in those competitive exams. Not even in the board exams, for which rote learning is more often deployed. But what happens is that by using the rote learning approach, you might be able to do 60, 70, 80% of the questions that come in the board exam, but there are always these 20, 30% questions which are somewhat new. And those you are unable to do. So all you can do is a mediocre performance. So rote learning is a problem. It does not help us deal with not just exams, but also in life itself and education. The purpose of education is to prepare you for life, and rote learning fails our children. Okay, which is one of the reasons I set up Level Field School, is to find out and show a method by which we can avoid rote learning, we can eschew rote learning, and build thinking orientation in children. How we did that, that's for another video. Thank you.